Yo!
Okay.
What was that? Woman needs help. Hey, Sanchez, Anthony Rose. We got some West Coast swing for you guys today. We were kind of talking the other day. We realized that we've done a lot of West Coast swing patterns, moves and stuff here on the channel. We've done West Coast swing whips. We've done variations of whips. But one thing we haven't done is a reverse whip. This is one that is danced a lot, one that you need to know. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna teach you the fundamentals of the reverse whip and then show you some reverse whip variations. So stick around.
We're taking our shot, bring what you got. We're going all the way to the top. We will hear the sound of 1 million.
Guys, the way that we teach West Coast swing is kind of in categories. There's like side passes, and sugar pushes, and whips. This belongs in that whip category. We've already taught the basic whip. There's a link right there if you want to kind of review the basic whip patterns. This reverse whip has many different ways to get into it and many different ways to get out of it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna show you the basic idea, the basic concept of it, and then we'll kind of give you a couple variations after that. Now, if you're brand new here at the channel, we post all of the country dances. Obviously, we do West Coast swing, but we do two-step, waltz,
polka,
cha-cha, all that
swing.
stuff. But you're gonna notice this little button down here and it says subscribe. Now, if you click that button, then you become an X dancer and then you'll know when all the awesome stuff happens here on the channel. So we'll demonstrate the reverse whip and then we'll break it down. All right, guys, so the reverse whip is a variation of a whip, so you really need to know how to do the whip first. And if you've not learned the basic whip, there's a link right there. Watch that one. That kind of, this one builds off of that, okay? Now, I'm gonna demonstrate the pattern. We're gonna break it down one piece at a time, all right? So we're gonna start in a basic leader's left hand, follower's right hand. We're gonna bring her in just like a basic whip, except for normally in a whip, we bring her to the other side. We're gonna walk her forward for 1, 2 with a little bit of prep. Then we're gonna roll her in for 3, and across for 4. Once we get to this point, it is just a basic whip to finish, which is 5, 6, 7, and 8. Now we need to kind of explain the differences between a basic whip and this reverse whip. A basic whip brings her to me and she starts to rotate clockwise on count 2. So you've got a rotation in between counts 1 and 2 where she does about a quarter of her rotation. Sometimes people do up to a half, but you have 1, 2, and a basic whip. Now with the reverse whip, she's actually gonna walk straight twice. So she's not gonna turn on count 2. I'm gonna prep her on count 2.
This is gonna feel like an underarm turn in the beginning.
Yeah, it's gonna feel a little bit like a rolling pass except for on the opposite side and everything, but I'm gonna bring her in for 1. This starts her in motion. Then on count 2, I give her a little bit of prep. You'll notice that I'm completely out of the slot. So I've given her this path, I've gotten completely out of the way. Then she's gonna turn a half of a turn in between counts 2 and 3, all right? So for count 3, she turns half, she brings her feet together, and then on count 4, she starts moving back down the slot to finish for 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay, so if we show you that again, she has 1, 2, straight walking with a prep on count 2 as I get out of the slot. So we have 1, 2. Notice I've opened that body up just a little bit to actually give her that little bit of rotation or a little bit of opening for the prep. Then she's got to get a full half of rotation. Right now, Rose is facing this wall. And by the time she gets to count 3, she needs to be facing that opposite wall, and I have my hand on her back. So that is 3, right? From here, I'm basically holding her place for and. She brings her feet together. Then she starts moving back down the slot on count 4 as I step across. For the most part, this is the same structure. It's the same format of a basic whip, except for when she turns and the direction she turns. That's why it's called a reverse whip. Once we get to count 3, the pattern's exactly the same from that count 4. So if we show you that from this side, we have 1, prep 2, I'm completely out of the way. I'm gonna pick her up with my hand for count 3, together for and, step across the slot as she comes back towards me for 4, then we're gonna rotate our bodies for 5, 6, 7, and 8. So for the most part, if you have not yet done that basic whip, this is gonna be really, really difficult because this is kind of a step up from that. Now the reverse whip, there's a bunch of different ways you can get into this. I do want to show you some of this stuff close up before we get into it, but then we're going to show you multiple variations. All right, so I want to show how the hands work, like how the connection works. So I'm going to bring her forward for count 1 as I step out of the way. On count 2, I'm stepping out of the slot completely. I'm bringing that hand up and I'm actually prepping. I'm prepping her body open. As she starts to turn in between counts 2 and 3, I'm gonna take my right hand and put it on her back as she turns half a rotation. I'm basically on her back for 3. I hold her there for and, then I step around and start bringing her back for count 4 so I can finish for 5, 6, 7, and 8. So if we watch that all the way through, it's 1, prep 2, you have hand, hold, go. 5, 6, 7, and 8.
All right, guys, so we're gonna talk about the footwork right now. Really just the follower's footwork is gonna be the one that's spiced up a little bit because
Leader's footwork, your footwork is exactly the same as it is in the basic way. So we don't need to teach you that. We're assuming you already know that. So you don't need to learn that again. We just need to talk about her footwork because her footwork is the only part that's different.
Exactly. All right, cool. So followers, you're gonna step forward on your right foot for 1, forward on your left for 2. Between counts 2 and 3, you're gonna do a half a rotation. So this is gonna be 3 together and. So your left foot's gonna come together. 4, step forward on 4 on your right foot, and then you're just gonna walk back for 5, 6, and then you're gonna have your anchor. All right, guys, Anthony is really sad and he really, really needs friends. So he really wants you to join his beautiful texting community,
Please,
the Save
become
Anthony
my friend.
Foundation.
I'm lonely. I need people like you to talk to. And if you text me, it's 281-248-8167. 281-248-8167. You can like ask me dance stuff. We can talk about
nice.
dance stuff. And then sometimes we send out like videos that we don't put here on YouTube, right? And just little things that they're only for that texting community. So if you text that number, you get me. You don't get anybody else. And
He's
then
a good
we
lad.
become friends.
Yes.
All right, guys, we're gonna demonstrate this music a couple times, but stick around. After this, we're gonna give you guys some variations or some different ways to do this same pattern. So we'll show you what it looks like to music. All right, guys, we're gonna show you guys some different ways to do this, different handholds and stuff like that. The thing you gotta know here, though, is that her footwork, his footwork, exactly the same. So it is exactly the same footwork you learned. The only thing we're gonna do is like touch each other differently with different hands, okay? So the way we did this originally was leader's left hand, follower's right hand. But what if we were in a position where we're here? Nice to meet you. Where if we're in this position, her footwork's gonna be the same, my footwork's gonna be the same. All we're gonna do is lead her in from that hand, then drop it, go to her back, and we're doing the rest of that reverse whip. Okay, so everything else is the same. The only thing that's gonna change is how we get into it, which hand we're holding, and then I'm gonna lead her in for 1, 2, keeping the hand down low. I'm gonna turn her in just like we did before, except now I'm gonna put the hand behind her back, go to her back, release that hand, and send her back out. Let me show you that hand change up close. So we lead her in for 1, 2. Now I'm gonna bring her in, I'm gonna bring that hand down, and then we're gonna do what's called break the wrist, which is basically turn that wrist over. As we break that wrist, I'm gonna turn it over, it's gonna go behind her back until I can pick her up on her back. Once I've picked her up on her back, I release it, and then we can send her back through. So if we show you that again, we're in right to right hand hold, we dance 1, 2, catch the back for 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Guys, here's another variation that builds on that one. Now, if we're in this right hand to right hand hold, all we're gonna do is, that's gonna be different between this one and the last one, is now we're asking for that left hand over top. So we still have a nice to meet you hold, but we ask for the left hand over top. The right hand, the footwork, everything is still the same, except for now we're bringing that left hand up. When we turn her, I'm gonna bring that left hand, my left hand up over top, and it goes behind my head.
Follower's
and
right
then,
hand is in the same position
Yep.
right there.
So if you watch just the right hand, is exactly what we did. Just picture this: 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Except for now we're also adding left hand. All right. So we have 1, 2, right hand's exactly the same, but the left hand comes up over my head and anchor in place. All right, guys, now we're gonna do the reverse whip from a free spin. So instead of going right hand to right hand, I've got my right hand to Rose's left hand. We're stepping her forward for 1, 2, prepping her for 2, and then we're just gonna free spin her in, catch her on the back, and send her out. It's still the same basic concept that we're doing before. Footwork, everything's still the same. We're just going 1, 2, we get out of the slot leaders, prepping her for 2, rolling her in, going to the back for 3, and across for 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All right, so we got a bonus feature for you. We've actually taught this next variation before here on the channel, and so we're gonna demonstrate how it works here and how it plays into the stuff we've already done. If you want the full breakdown, that's right there. That's gonna show you all the hand positions and connections and all the little small detail, but it looks like this. So we're going from a right hand to right hand hold, just like we did. We lead her for that inside or reverse whip, catch the shoulder, send her back out. We'll show you that again. We lead her in for 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Keep in mind, now her footwork is exactly the same as a reverse whip. His footwork is a little different. If you want all of the details on that, watch that video. You can actually click there again and it pulls down all the links and stuff. But either way, guys, we appreciate you guys being here. We want to know more about what you guys want. If there's something you guys would like to see here on the channel, comment down below. We read every single comment. We respond to every single thing. We want to know what can help you guys. And we'll see you guys in the next video. Guys, if you want to go through the full basic playlist and all the different variations, click that link right there. That will take you through everything you kind of need to know. Or if you just want to watch another video here on the channel, that one's pretty good too. We'll see you in the next video.